This year's off to a rousing start. I swear I deleted that file. And then they would tuck it in other locations, and I would find it and delete it. And they would tuck it in little nooks and crannies of various workstations and computers. And I would find it and delete it, and then they would rename it so I couldn't find it. I really thought that file was gone. Happy New Year, everybody. It is the second day of January 2020. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We made it to a new year, made it to a new decade. And we're back for another exciting day of television fun and television entertainment and just plain TV. Weather is going to be an unbelievable roller coaster, unbelievably mild, incredibly mild for this time of the year. We set a new record yesterday on January 1st. We'll talk about that. But even though we're going to see temperatures, high temperatures in the 40s, we could still get snow. I mean, it's going to be that kind of, there's like a big fire hose right over the Pacific Ocean. It's pointed right at the Pacific Northwest. The Puget Sound area is going to get hammered. Thank goodness for the lee of the Cascades that prevents us from getting any kind of really crazy weather. But we're in for it's a little bit of everything weather-wise from Mother Nature. Forecast details are coming up. We'll get your year going with the latest news headlines, sports. We'll recap yesterday's bowl action, preview today's bowl action, and we'll also preview the upcoming Seahawks playoff game against the Philadelphia Eagles. We have everything else that you're used to. We haven't really changed a great deal as far as what we do for Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. The obscure holiday. Some celebrity birthdays today in history. Mike McNally's got an opinion. It's Thursday. Kennel Cameos. Ace the dog needs a home. We'll see if we can make that happen. That's coming up at the bottom of the hour. And because the deadline is coming, it's Monday, January 6th. That is the deadline for the prospective candidates to get their information into the Wenatchee School Board. As you well know by now, there are 2 vacancies on the Wenatchee School Board. They're down to just 3 members, and they're accepting applications till the end of the business day on January 2nd. And because of that, we're going to replay the interview I did with Dr. Paul Gordon, the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District, to talk about the importance of filling those 2 vacancies. All right, 3 minutes after the hour, clear skies, a very mild 36 degrees. We should have some pretty good camera views this morning. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras. As you can see, it is a beautiful morning. The cross camera zoomed in just a little bit, but still tilted up. Yep, new record yesterday, 51 degrees at Pangbourne Memorial Airport. Now keep in mind, that's where they keep the official measuring devices at. Here on the valley floor, it was maybe 2-3 degrees warmer than that. My thermometer said 55 at one point outside of my house, but 51 was the official high yesterday. That broke the old record of 50 degrees set back in 1997. So a very mild start to the new year and the new decade, and it's going to be a very mild week this week. Again, that forecast is you're going to scratch your head and you go, are you kidding me? But it's true. Camera number 2, Megan's choice. She says jump off ridge. Looks good. Is that correct, Megan? That is jump off ridge. So the Wenatchee Valley way up in the upper left-hand corner. You can't quite make out the Stimmill Basin. You can make out most of the East Wenatchee Bench. Malaga is down there somewhere, I'm sure. Last I checked, Malaga hasn't gone anywhere. Jump off ridge. I don't know how it got its name. I think the guy's name was Bob Ridge. I'm not sure. Good morning to our friends at Jump Off Ridge. Camera number 3. Still pretty dark, of course. So we get what we can get. And McNeil Canyon. Hey, I'm 3 for 3. What a great start to the new year. Good morning to our friends up at McNeil Canyon. Way out in the distance there is Lake Chelan. As you can see, we had a lot of snowmelt over the weekend. I ran a couple of errands yesterday afternoon during the heat. And all those big piles of snow and those big parking lots where they plow all the snow into a corner, a lot of that's pretty much melted. We had very warm temperatures, of course, and it's going to stay that way. By the way, sunrise this morning, 7:48. That hasn't changed for about a week. The sunsets are getting a little bit later. Sunset today, 4:22. That means 8 hours and 34 minutes of daylight for the second day of January. And finally, camera number 4. Good morning to, I'm going to spitball here and say monitor. Hey, I'm 4 for 4. Megan tried to fool me, couldn't quite pull that off. So that's our camera from high above the monitor area. You can't quite make out the Monitor Hilton and the Monitor International Airport. It's just off to your screen, but you can make out Kashmir, hometown of Captain Wagner. Beautiful view there from the Monitor camera. And at 6 minutes after the hour on a very mild, it feels like a Monday, Thursday morning, from the National Weather Service, courtesy of Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They give your home a hug. As you can see, the sun's taken most of the week off, or the rest of the week off, and into the weekend. As I mentioned before, it's just going to be all over the place. We have a chance of rain today. It could mix with snow at times. Check this out. Our afternoon high temperature is not going to be the afternoon high temperature. It's going to be 42 by about noon, and then as a little system comes through, it's actually going to get cooler. Normally in the afternoon, we warm up and we warm up and we warm up until sunset. We're actually going to do the opposite. We're going to start cooling down by noon. For the rest of the day, we'll start cooling down to about the freezing mark. So that's kind of backwards. Tonight, slight chance of a rain-snow mix, and then a slight chance of rain. Snow level is going to be at 2,400 feet, goes to 5,000 feet after midnight, and then the temperature goes back up. So again, we're going to be at 32, 33 degrees by 6 o'clock tonight, and then it goes up to 36 degrees in the overnight hours. Told you this was weird. For Friday, snow level goes to about 4,100 feet, partly sunny, high of 46. Well, we can't rule out a raindrop or two. Friday night, rain, sometimes mixed with snow, 35 for the overnight low. Saturday, sunny, 46, and windy, quite windy at times on Saturday. As I mentioned before, the jet stream is right over the Pacific Northwest, but it's not bringing in cold or inclement weather. It's bringing in quite a bit of warm air from the south. By the time we get to Sunday, snow level is going to be at 1,200 feet, but we'll see a high of 39. Look at all those high temperatures, 42, 45, 46, 38. A lot of the overnight lows that you see are actually warmer than what our afternoon high would be for early January. It is a very strange weather pattern to begin the new year. And if you just joined us again, we set a record yesterday, 51 degrees on January 1st, broke the old record of 50, set back in 1997. 7 minutes after the hour, about 8 minutes after the hour. Let's take you up to the major mountain passes, courtesy of the Washington State Department of Transportation. Excuse me, that's a live shot of I-90. No advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and wet. Nothing coming out of the sky. Now, the last I saw of Stevens, we had no view at all. Let's see what we got now on Stevens. Yeah, there you go. It's a beautiful view from Stevens Pass. Stevens, that 1,000-foot elevation difference between I-90 and US 2 makes all the difference because they are getting snow on Stevens Pass, and there's a traction tire requirement right now on US 2 Stevens. So on I-90, you got nothing. On Stevens, it's snowing pretty good, and traction tires are required as we speak on this Thursday morning. Finally, to Blewett Pass, where we can actually see the roadway. As you can see, it's pretty much covered in snow there. You got frost and ice on the roadway. The problem right now on Blewett, you got pockets of freezing rain, especially on the south side of the Blewett Pass summit. Traction tires are advised. So traction tires required on Stevens, advised on Blewett, and no advisories or restrictions on I-90. Your forecast for the passes today, 2 to 4 inches of snow, most of it in the morning hours for the Cascades. For later on tonight, 2 to 4 inches of snow, most of it in the overnight hours. Then we go on Friday, just a couple of inches of snow. Friday night can get dicey, 4 to 8 inches of snow in the forecast for Friday night. Great news for skiers and snowboarders, not so much for you commuters. Saturday, an additional 5 to 9 inches of snow in the mountain passes. Then we wrap up the weekend with more snow. So they're going to get quite a bit of snow in the mountain passes over the next 48 to 54 hours. So you're in the loop as far as the weather and the passes are concerned. At 9 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break and come back with your Thursday morning headlines. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
Winter is here, and CVCH wants to give your child a free sled to help them stay active. This January, plan to join us for a free event for the whole family. Free sleds, hot chocolate, and fun. For complete details, visit the CVCH Facebook page or check us out at cvchchillout.com.
It's a marvelous markdown at Sangster Buick GMC.
Hi, Corey Sangster, and we're ending the year with a bang. Take advantage of employee pricing on a great selection of new Buick and GMCs. 2019 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew SLT with savings over $11,000. Or this 2019 Buick Encore all-wheel drive up to $7,000 off. Or choose employee pricing. Before you buy, compare price, service, and selection.
December is a marvelous markdown at Sangster Buick GMC or sangstermotors.com.
And we're back at 11 minutes after the hour to give you an indication of the unseasonably warm weather that we're having. Just in the last 20 minutes at Pangbourne, we went from 36 degrees to 40 degrees. Just like that, we'll top off at about 42 in the noon hour, then it gets cooler as the day progresses. But the big story all through the rest of this week, end of the weekend, and early next week, very mild temperatures. Here's what's making headlines. Wenatchee City officials got a jump on the new year and by starting their new terms. Incoming Wenatchee City Council members and a not-so-new mayor were sworn in on Monday, new to the council after winning their elections in November. Travis Hornby and Jose Cuervas sworn into new terms. Councilwoman Linda Harold and Mayor Frank Kuntz. Harold defeated challenger Jorge Chacon in the November election. Mayor Kuntz unopposed, running for his third term. Speaking of Mayor Frank Kuntz, he says the city faces a financial hit this year due to, in part anyway, to an increase in jail costs that the city will be paying Chelan County for their use of the Chelan County Regional Justice Center. The city's share of the jail funding will add to a budget that already projects more spending than revenue. This year, the mayor spoke about the looming budget challenges during an interview with our special news correspondent, Steve Hare.
Well, that's a big increase, right? And that wasn't one that's not one that the city, we sort of knew it was coming, but we have to absorb that. We don't have other places to go.
So is this tied to the capital improvements they made at the jail?
Some of their capital improvements and I think some other sort of issues there. So again, they just sort of said you have a 25% increase. If everybody gave us a 25% increase, we would have real problems. So again, as you sort of look through how these things sort of work, we're able to absorb most of that and just through normal operations. But that always, that's a couple $100,000 a year, and so that's the difference between being able to hire another police officer if you wanted to on the gang front or on the homeless and some of the other things that you want to do. So it's always a juggling act, Steve. It's never quite perfect, but we do the best we can. We've got some great committees. We have a finance committee at the city that helps me put the budget together, so the council's involved in all of that. And again, it's always a bit of a juggling act, and we always, most local governments would like to do more things, and revenue seems to get in the way.
The city's budget for 2020 includes over $107 million in spending, $81 million in tax revenue. That means they will be tapping into the reserves, but Mayor Frank Kuntz says they've been building up the reserve fund for a number of years.
We took some major budget cuts back in the recession. And as we sort of put things back together, we're trying to do it very strategically as to, what's the new city look like? Where's growth going to happen? And so we're being very strategic about that. We did pass a budget. We were attempted to get a couple of more police officers funded in that and didn't get it done. And that's okay. Council, they make those sort of policy decisions, and it's my job to execute them. And so we'll do the best we can. But we're in a way better financial spot than we were, say, 8 years ago.
Overall, the mayor sounded upbeat about the new year and what will bring in terms of new growth and development. That complete interview with Steve Hare and Mayor Frank Kuntz will air next week on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. A Cashmere man who borrowed a friend's pickup truck while his friend was in jail went to jail himself over the weekend after police determined the truck was stolen. Deputies found 33-year-old Thomas Ezra Roth trying to gas up the truck Friday morning outside of Cashmere. He allegedly told them he'd borrowed the truck from his friend, again, who was in jail, but the inmate told police he hadn't granted permission. A trailer attached to the truck was also reported stolen. At the time of his arrest, Roth was out on bond for an earlier charge of theft of a vehicle. A Douglas County man in prison for sexual abuse says he was unfairly denied a chance at a lesser sentence. Robert Thomas Lamberton, who's 49 years old, pleaded guilty last spring to 2 counts of first-degree incest and 1 in the second degree for molesting one of his own adopted children. Prosecutors offered to recommend a special sex offender sentencing option, which would have allowed Lamberton to spend 6 months in jail and then go free on strict probation. But Superior Court Judge Brian Huber rejected that proposal and sentenced Lamberton to 5 years in prison. Lamberton now wants the Court of Appeals to review the judge's decision. He's confined at the Coyote Ridge Corrections Center in Franklin County. And finally, on this new year, an art project almost 4 years in the making at Mission Ridge Ski and Board Resort was celebrated on Saturday with the release of the Yeti ribbon cutting. A couple of years ago, Mission Ridge produced a video giving folks a sneak peek at what exactly this is.
Project Yeti is a group of local Wenatchee artists who want to put a 16-foot tall scrap metal Yeti at the top of Mission Ridge. So we're standing up on the eastern slope of Chair 2 of Liberator Express, kind of between Ala and Tumwater. And this is where we want to put the Yeti, be about, hopefully maybe about 16 feet tall, and maybe as big as one of these trees right here. And this is an excellent view, looking down on Chair 2, so when you're coming up, you'll be hanging out over. And just a really good spot. I mean, Mission Ridge is really iconic between the bomber wing and the towers and our vistas and our views. It's just a really beautiful spot. So we want to kind of build on that, keep that legacy going, and create one more piece of art that people can come up here and take pictures with and enjoy with their families. This is a really great spot. We have an engineer on our team, so everything's going to be able to be designed to be able to withstand the severe winds we get up here. Like a good Yeti, he'll be able to hang out and survive the storms, and hopefully he's going to ice up. We're doing everything that's going to be made. We're going to recycle, use a lot of recycled scrap metal to build the structure itself. And so when we get these rad storms, we'll be collecting the hoarfrost. So hopefully, you know, several weeks out of the season, maybe he'll be completely iced over. Gonna get abominable snow.
And that's what's making the headlines on this second day of January 2020. Grant Olson will be back in the anchor chair tonight to deliver you the latest news. Grant had to take New Year's Eve off. He went to Seattle to watch the big fireworks display at the Space Needle, which didn't happen. In any event, Grant will be back in the anchor chair tonight. Eric Granstrom with sports, and you can check out the news at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. You can also watch it on demand by going to our website late in the afternoon at ncwlife.com. Our website is one of the tools you can use to get a hold of us. Go to ncwlife.com. You'll see the Contact Us icon at the top of the screen. Click on it, and we'll get it. Trust me on that. You got to fill out a little form, but anybody can do that so long as you're not a robot. You can also send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Drop us a line via Facebook Messenger. And by the way, if we get a few more likes, I think we get breakfast. I'm not sure. So get us over that breakfast edge, will you? So we can get free food from the company. We'd appreciate it. Going to take a break. When we come back, we got sports, the obscure holiday today in history, birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike Mignotti's opinion, kettle cameos, and my conversation with Paul Gordon, the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District. It's a busy new year. It's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Don't go anywhere.
What's your Automocha emergency?
It's a Frappuccino mocha with whip.
The espresso shakes are my most favorite because I can get any flavor. Peanut butter chocolate for pita.
Definitely the espresso shakes.
My favorite is the mocha for pitas.
A peach Red Bull.
Boating in the Wenatchee Valley starts at Bob File Boats and Motors. Now you can fish like a pro without breaking the bank thanks to the Pro Mag aluminum fishing boat by Smokercraft. It features a great layout with a spacious bow casting platform, huge live wells, and in-floor storage to safely stow your gear. See the Smokercraft line of boats at Bob File Boats and Motors on Sunset Highway in East Wenatchee or online at bobfile.com.
Bob File Boats and Motors, we're dealing. Bob File's gonna make you smile.
19 minutes after the hour on this Thursday, let's talk about sports. Couple of good games, couple of real yawners for New Year's Day Bowl. Let's do a recap. Minnesota dominated the time of possession, and they beat Auburn in the Outback Bowl, 31-24. I've been to an Outback Steakhouse. I'm not real impressed with him. Tyler Johnson had 12 receptions, 204 yards, couple of touchdowns. The Gophers also outgained the Tigers on the ground, 215 yards to just 56 for Auburn. The VRBO Citrus Bowl, not much. Auburn beat up on Michigan 35-16. Mac Jones throwing for 3 touchdowns. Jerry Jeudy became the first Alabama player to top 200 receiving yards in a bowl game as the Crimson Tide rolled. Justin Herbert rushed for 3 touchdowns. The last a 30-yard burst with 7:41 to play in the fourth quarter. Oregon beats Wisconsin in the Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. This was a very entertaining football game. His last collegiate game playing for the team he worshipped as a kid growing up in Eugene. Herbert used his legs more than his arms, and the Ducks finished 12-2. George Pickens caught 12 passes, 175 yards, and a touchdown. Number 5 Georgia defeated 8th-ranked Baylor in the All-State Sugar Bowl, 26-14. Jake Fromm, the kid who once donned a University of Washington uniform, led the Bulldogs. He went 20 of 30 for 250 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and an interception. So those games are in the books. We got more games coming up as the bowl season continues to dwindle down. Boston College takes on Cincinnati today. It's the Ticketmaster Birmingham Bowl. Gee, I wonder where that's at. At 4, it's the Tex Slayer Gator Bowl. You got Indiana and Tennessee. That's on ESPN. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl is tomorrow. Ohio takes on Nevada. At 12:30 Saturday, you have a mix of college and pro games. Southern Mississippi will take on Tulane, and the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl begins at 8:30 in the morning on ESPN. NFL's wildcard weekend, of course, is this weekend. Things get going on Saturday. The Buffalo Bills travel to Houston to take on the Texans. Saturday, 1:35 on ESPN. That's the AFC wildcard game. The other AFC wildcard matchup is New England hosts Tennessee at 5:15 on CBS. Sunday, you got the NFC wildcard game at 10:05 in the morning. Fox will televise New Orleans hosting Minnesota. Then at 1:40, it's Seattle, of course, and Philadelphia. Seahawks coach Pete Carroll says he knows his team will be in for a battle come Sunday.
Philadelphia's changed a little bit in some of their guys, but their style of play and their completeness, the way that they have a complete football team and teams and tough defense, and they run the football well, all of that stuff. This is a good club. It's why they won a division, and they also finished great. You know, coming off 4 straight wins to get it done is really a great accomplishment for these guys. So. They know us, we know them some, and because there's been a game, but we game plan all over again, and they do too. So we'll have to see what happens, but looking forward to this for sure. We've been waiting to be in the playoffs, and we're ready to go.
As you probably remember, back in Week 12, Seattle traveled to Philadelphia and knocked off the Eagles 17-9. Pete Carroll said they've already won at Lincoln Financial Field, and they've had a very good season on the road, and he says, hey, that bodes well for us.
No, it certainly does help, and just because we'll be comfortable with the setting and the environment and all of that. The weather will have its play on this thing as well. But it was a nasty day when we played, and probably more than anything, traveling. It's been something that we've really taken great pride in this year, and we've done it really well. And we don't have any hesitation going on the road, and so. Well, I don't know how else everybody else. We played about as well as you can on the road, and hopefully that'll be in our favor as we go after it. Because there's a chance we might have to be on the road as far as we go. So we'll see if that happens. We'll be ready.
Seattle safety Quandre Diggs is back in action. Of course, he missed 3 games because he had an ankle injury. He said he modeled his recovery after other athletes with the similar injury.
Every injury is different, so you never know. But I always said. I want to I kept up with guys that had, these type of injuries, and really want to give a shout out to Saquon Barkley and, Luka Doncic, because, I watched everything and saw how they kind of bounced back, and it just kind of put a goal in my mind on what I could do. So, those guys pushed me and they don't even know it.
Pete said you'd had something similar like this before in your past? Or?
Yeah, I had the same thing in high school, so pretty similar. So. I was 16 at the time, though, so, at that time, I was young. Now I'm old, so we don't know.
The forecast for Sunday's game in Philadelphia, rainy and very, very windy. Seattle linebacker Bobby Wagner says the wind doesn't matter for either side when there's a job to be done.
Honestly, the wind don't really affect my game. I just see a body and try to go hit it. As far as, the pass concepts and things of that nature, you can tell, I'm not a quarterback, so I don't know how they, throwing the ball, but at the end of the day, they know how to get the balls to the guys no matter what the conditions is, whether it's raining, windy, whatever. You can't really prepare for it to be that factor. Their job is to get the ball to the open receivers, open tight ends, open running backs. The only thing that I can think of to maybe kind of help them is maybe do a little bit more screens, do a little bit more jailbreak screens to receivers, quick passes or something like that. But, at the end of the day, it's win or go home. So I'm pretty sure they're going to figure out a way to get the ball to their receivers.
Seahawks and Eagles, Sunday afternoon, 1:40 kickoff. You can watch the game on the National Broadcasting Company. It is Thursday night. That means hockey night here on the NCW Live Channel. We're going to broadcast the Wilds game against Powell River from December 21st. We'll have that for you tonight with Art Jecker on the play-by-play. Of course, the Wild are back in action after the holiday break tomorrow night at the Town Toyota Center. Wenatchee will host Victoria. 7:05 is when they drop the puck. The Wild are currently 4th in the Interior Division, tied for 4th, I should say. They're 19-16-3-1. They have 42 points. Victoria is in 5th place in the Island Division. They are 15-24 with 30 points. By the way, David Rayfield for the Wenatchee Wild will be our guest on tomorrow's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. And those were just some of the games that people are playing on this Thursday. It's 25 minutes after the hour. The obscure holiday, it's National Buffet Day. Yes, National Buffet Day. Of course, that's when you have a bunch of food laid out, and you can just pick and grab what you want. You serve yourself. Buffets are very popular. Buffets go all the way back, believe it or not, to the 16th century. A buffet table wasn't food, it was drinks. They would pour all of these shots, and you would, that didn't work. Then it kind of morphed into smorgasbord, and now, of course, it's just a buffet. The term buffet originally came from the French, and it wasn't the idea of serving a bunch of food on a table. It was the name of the table that the food was put on, and now it's just become the buffet. So how do you celebrate today? Head out to your favorite buffet restaurant and dig in. A lot of buffets, the big thing in buffets now is specific cuisine. They have buffets just for Indian food, or just for pasta, or just for salad, or just for seafood, or just for pizza. They just have the general buffets. If you're a big fan of Jimmy Buffet, you want to go to Las Vegas, because every hotel and casino seems to have a buffet. Happy Buffet Day today. Changes in attitudes, changes in latitudes, 26 minutes after the hour, 27 minutes after the hour. Today in history. Happy birthday, Georgia. Georgia is 232 years old today. They became the fourth state to ratify the Constitution on this date back in 1788. Fun facts about Georgia, of course, it's known as the Peach State. The Georgia state song is Georgia on My Mind. Good for them. Georgia is the largest state east of the Mississippi. In 1945, Georgia became the first state in this country to lower the voting age from 21 to 18. It didn't become a federal law until 1971. Georgia has 159 counties. That's more than any other state east of the Mississippi. And the world's largest drive-in restaurant, The Varsity, in Atlanta, Georgia, can accommodate 600 cars. That's a big drive-in restaurant. Happy 232nd birthday to Georgia. It was 46 years ago today, January 2nd, 1974, during the big OPEC oil embargo. All the countries in the Middle East got together and said, we're gonna shut off the tap for you petroleum lovers there in the United States. And President Richard Nixon, in response, signed a bill lowering the national speed limit to 55 miles an hour. The idea was to conserve gas. It worked, and we had the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit for a long, long time. Can you imagine that today? Driving from I-90 from like Moses Lake to Ritzville, and your speed limit was 55 miles an hour. I remember that. We got rid of that a number of years ago, but for a long time, that was the national speed limit, 55 miles an hour. And two of the biggest upsets in college football history happened on this date. Monday, January 2nd, 1978, the 64th Rose Bowl, the Huskies defeated the Michigan Wolverines 27-20. There it is, a beautiful day in Pasadena. Let's go to the tape. The Huskies were a 2-touchdown underdog to the Michigan Wolverines. Warren Moon got the scoring going in the first quarter. He rolls out, rolls in, boom, it's 7-0 Washington. This isn't supposed to happen. Michigan is a lot better team than Washington. Michigan was ranked 4th in the country. They were looking for a national title. Later on, Warren Moon, again, the quarterback. He had a deep threat. His name was Spider Gaines, who was a world-class hurdler. And Spider Gaines got behind the defense for a huge gain. All of a sudden, Michigan's got a game. Huskies didn't score, though. Steve Robbins, Wenatchee native. Steve Robbins kicks the field goal, and before you know it, it's 10-0 Washington. What's going on? Later on in the second quarter, Warren Moon would sneak it in after a long, long drive. Huskies dominated all the way down to the goal line. Warren Moon will sneak it in. It's a touchdown. The Huskies increase their lead. Can you believe this? The upstart Washington Huskies beating the mighty Michigan Wolverines. Can you believe this? This can't possibly happen. Later on in the second quarter, the Huskies, just letting them know that they're paying attention, a fake punt. Boom, huge gain for the Washington Huskies. At this point, the Michigan fans are freaking out. We're not supposed to lose to these guys. It's Washington. They were 7-4. We were 10-1. What's going on? And then the big play, 4th and goal from the 3. Rick Leach hands it off. The Huskies stuffed them. The Huskies take over on downs, and then the Huskies proceeded to drive 93 yards. This is in the third quarter. Joe Steele just took it to them, pounding the Michigan defense with run after run after run. Joe Steele was just a sophomore back at the 1978 Rose Bowl. The Huskies just took it to him, drove 97 yards, capped off by Warren Moon to, Spider Gaines, touchdown, Washington. Spider Gaines got banged up. He actually ran into the stands, the partition that was holding the stands up in the corner. He would eventually shake it off. He would be fine. And the Huskies are running away with the Rose Bowl. Can you believe this? Later on, Steve Robbins kicked another field goal, and now it's 27-7 Washington in the fourth quarter. But the Michigan Wolverines came back. A huge rally for the Michigan Wolverines. They got all the way down to 27-20, and then late in the fourth quarter, Rick Leach drops back to pass. It is intercepted by Michael Jackson. Hee. The Huskies go nuts, and the upset is in the bag. The Washington Huskies, a 2-touchdown underdog, knocks off the Michigan Wolverines 27-20. The Don James era truly began there, and the Washington Huskies became one of the dominant teams in the West Coast for the next 20 years. And it all started with this incredible Rose Bowl upset Monday, January 2nd, 1978. I remember it well. And this was a huge upset as well. January 2nd, 1987. 32 years ago today, the Fiesta Bowl in Phoenix, Arizona. Penn State defeats the number 1 ranked Miami Hurricanes 14-10 in the Fiesta Bowl. It was an interesting bowl scenario. Miami was, of course, Miami. They ran through the competition all through the year. They dominated everybody that they played there, 11-0. Penn State was also 11-0, but they didn't quite dominate their competition. They kind of snuck by a couple of times. People just didn't think much of Penn State, even though they were undefeated and 11-0. Miami was a heavy favorite to knock off the Penn State Nittany Lions. The only reason this bowl game could happen is that neither team were affiliated with a conference. Both Penn State and Miami were independents. The game was underway. Vinny Testaverde, 1986 Heisman Trophy winner, intercepted early on in the game. The tone was set. Again, Miami was a heavy favorite. Jimmy Johnson later called his 1986 Miami team the best team he ever coached, and that says something. So poor Vinny, and of course Vinny Testaverde started to lose his poise just a little bit. So did the Miami Hurricanes when they realized, hey, Penn State's not just going to roll over and die. Later on in the second quarter, Miami scored a touchdown. They go up 7-0 in the second quarter. Penn State would answer with a touchdown in their own midway through the second quarter, and just like that, to everybody's surprise, especially fans of the Miami Hurricanes, it's 7-7 at halftime. This was not supposed to happen. Miami was supposed to run away with this game, the good guys against the bad guys. I remember watching this game very, very well indeed. To the second half we go. It's still 7-7. Vinny Testaverde, Heisman Trophy winner, back to pass, slips, throws, intercepted. Are you detecting a pattern here? Later on in the third quarter, Heisman Trophy winner Vinny Testaverde intercepted by Penn State. Penn State only had 170 yards of total offense. That was it. Miami had 450 yards of total offense, but every time Miami got going, Heisman Trophy winner Vinny Testaverde would throw another interception. This time, Penn State ran it all the way down inside the 10-yard line. And could this possibly be the upset of the bowl season? On the very next play, Penn State would score a touchdown, and the Nittany Lions are ahead 14-10 halfway through the fourth quarter. Miami had one last rally with Vinny Testaverde, the Heisman Trophy winner. The great Miami team is not supposed to lose. 4th down and goal, 18 seconds remaining. Vinny Testaverde is going to go for the win and the touchdown and the championship, and it's intercepted again. Vinny Testaverde throwing 5 interceptions. The upset was at hand. A heavy underdog, Penn State, knocks off Miami and wins the 1986 national championship. Happened on this state back in 1987. A great bowl game indeed. Let's do some birthdays, shall we? At 34 minutes after the hour, Barry Goldwater was born on this date. He was a 5-term senator from Arizona. He was the Republican nominee for the presidency in 1964. Got just creamed by Lyndon Johnson. He was a Republican, and a conservative Republican at that, but there were some things about Republican politics that really troubled Barry Goldwater. He thought the religious right had way too much influence in the Republican Party. He openly lobbied for homosexuals to serve openly in the military. He opposed Bill Clinton's health care reform. He supported abortion rights. He supported the legalization of marijuana. You don't really hear this from conservative Republicans much anymore. He was a pretty nice guy, too. Barry Goldwater was born in the state in 1909, died in 1998 at the age of 89. A couple of baseball legends share the same birthday. David Coney is 57 years old today. He does Yankee broadcasts now for the Yes Network, 5-time world champion, 5-time All-Star, the 1994 Cy Young Award winner. And on July 18th, 1999, David Cone pitched a perfect game for the New York Yankees. Happy 57th birthday, Coney, and happy 57th birthday, Edgar, Hall of Famer. Edgar Martinez, we can finally say that, is also 57 years old today. 7-time an All-Star, 2-time a batting champion. The annual Designated Hitter Award in the American League is named after Edgar Martinez, and he was inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame just a few months back. Happy birthday, Edgar. All right, going to take a break. Got Mike McNally's opinion coming up, plus my conversation with Dr. Paul Gordon. But first, Ace the dog needs a home. Kennel Cameos with Megan McPherson.
Hey guys, Megan here with the NCW Life Channel. We're here with Jenny, the volunteer coordinator at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and Ace is joining us this week. Can you tell us about Ace?
Yes, Ace is about 3.5 years old. He came here to the shelter with another female, a strong female. He's a young, energetic guy. He knows the command sit, he knows stay, he's house trained. He's just a real joy. He's a very, very friendly guy. We do think that even though he came with a female dog, that he'd be best in the home as the only dog. He seems to love the attention and just kind of want it for himself. So he's joyful, he's fun. He's low on cats, so probably no cats either, but he's a fun guy. Come here.
And if someone wants to adopt him, what should they do?
They should come on down to the shelter and meet Ace. He's ready to go today.
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org. This has been Kennel Cameos at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
We're here because of the children, because the children need to be protected. Their needs aren't being met.
They didn't ask for any of this stuff. It's not their choices that got them here.
The more adults that a child has that love them, the better off they are.
Children need a whole community to raise them, and if we can do any little thing, it makes a big difference in the child's life.
This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, Amazon, the mega giant consumer retail business that's literally changing our society. Now, some people hate that beast. Now, Amazon is supposedly driving up housing costs in Seattle, paying people slave wages, yada, 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 yada. Yeah, well, maybe they are doing that, but you have to admit, being able to find exactly what you want from the privacy of your own home and have it delivered in a day or two, that sure beats driving all over town looking for something that possibly no real retailer even has in stock. And quite frankly, the deteriorating customer service that is rampant in some retail businesses may be a big part of the reason why Amazon is so popular. This is Mike Mad Dog McNally, and that's my opinion.
Badger Mountain Brewing is proud to announce the grand opening of our new kitchen. Come try out our new menu featuring fabulous steaks, prime rib, gourmet burgers, and seafood grilled up by experienced meat master, Chef Galen Goodman. To complement your mouth-watering meal, Badger Mountain Brewing features 14 in-house crafted beers, an alcohol-free root beer infused with 11 different herbs and spices, 3 different ciders, and a great wine selection. Don't miss out on the best meats and the best brews down at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Located at 1 Orondo Avenue across the tracks from the Pybus Market.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It is a lovely spring day here in the Wenatchee Valley. We have set up shop inside the office of Dr. Paul Gordon, of course, is the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District. He's had the gig for about 6 months, and we thought we'd catch up with Paul. We saw him in late August, right before the school year started, Paul. And we're back at it here as we wrap up 2019. Look forward to 2020. First of all, thanks for doing this. We appreciate it, Paul.
Absolutely, Dan.
It's always good to see you.
Absolutely.
Always good to
Yeah.
see you. When you came on board in summertime, you had a distinct plan, a timeline, if you will, in 3 parts. listening, learning, getting to know people, getting out and about. That has now basically wrapped up that process over the course of the last 6 months. Talk about your first 6 months on the job, Paul.
Well, first, again, thank you for the interview and the opportunity to speak with you. The first 6 months, first, it's flown by. I just wrote to the staff the other day at how I can't believe how quickly it has gone by. We've had so many opportunities to engage different community members, community leaders, staff members, parents, students, just to really understand from their perspective our district and our valley. And it has been so helpful for me, as I've told people. It really has been the gift of this time for me to really listen. And we said right out front with everybody is, I'm not going to improve anything or change anything or fix anything right now. It really was an opportunity to listen, to get in and hear their stories about our district and our community, and it really was a great gift that I gave myself to be able to spend time with our community members.
It was a leap of faith to come here from Illinois, Colorado to Illinois to little old Wenatchee town, USA. Your impressions after the 6 months, no regrets between you and your wife of coming here?
No, none. I mean, it's like you said, a beautiful day in Wenatchee. We got snow coming down. I feel like I'm in a snow globe. So it's been great. It really has been really enjoying the outdoor environment, continuing to meet amazing people wherever we go, and really starting to build some friendships, which has helped with the transition.
You also inherited a pretty good leadership team when you came on board, not only here at the district office where we're located at now, but really all over the Wenatchee School District. The leadership team is pretty much intact, and so you have some people who kind of gave you a little bit of a head start. There were some things you didn't really have to worry about, did you?
No, and I think that's a great way of phrasing it. I have really good, strong people throughout our district who've helped me, I've been able to transition, I think, a little quicker than in maybe other school districts, because of the talent pool here is immense and deep. And they're really thoughtful about what we're trying to do for our students. We all recognize we have some work to do, but they've been really open and honest about where they're at as an individual and where they're at with their school or their department, whatever it may be. So it's been great to engage in those types of conversations, and as like I said, it's helped me learn our organization better with these really honest conversations that we're having on a regular basis about our students, about our staff, and about the work that we do on a daily basis.
It's somewhat ironic we're taping this interview in Paul's office, but you don't spend a lot of time in your office. And I've talked to teachers and administrators throughout the Wenatchee School District. You are out and about. You're not an office-bound kind of a guy.
No.
You like to jump off the diving board right into the deep end.
I think the only way for a superintendent to know what's happening is to be in our schools, to be out and about, and to really get a deep understanding of what's happening, and to see the instruction firsthand, to see the trainings that we're doing, and be there with our staff as they're working through some of the situations. And I think our staff appreciates it, knowing that they can just reach out to me if I'm in the hallway or at a training and just ask me questions and get to know me a little bit better. It's about that building that relationship, that it's hard to come into the superintendent's office. Most people don't. Mm-hmm. Most people are too busy doing their thing, so it's better when I'm out and about and we can have those conversations, those impromptu conversations when we're wherever we're at the school or at a sporting event. One of the best conversations was sitting at a Power to Puff up in the stands and having a great conversation with a teacher for a good 40 minutes around her work and her ideas around our school district. It was fantastic.
Obviously, when we talk about the Wenatchee School District, probably the biggest thing that's been making the news lately over the last few months is the election cycle came and went. Your school board has undergone some drastic change. First of all, you're down to just 3. For the uninitiated, of course, Sonny Hemphill ran for re-election, was defeated by Martin Barron, who has already joined the board. Another member of the school board went down to defeat in a very strange election in that the person who ran tried to get out because they were moving out of the Wenatchee School District, couldn't get their name off the ballot, ended up winning anyway, could not accept the position and did not accept the position. And then you had yet another member of the school board take a job in Seattle. She had to leave. So you went from 5 members to 3 members, including 1 new member. That gives you 2 vacancies. They need to be filled. And walk me through that. Where are we now as we get through the end of December and early January on the process of getting 2 new board members, Paul?
Yeah, great summary. So you're right. We have 3 sitting board members. We have our quorum. We're able to do our work, but we really do need the next 2 board members. So currently we have 4 applications in. Applications are due by January 6th at 4 p.m. The board will review those that night at 5 o'clock and make a selection of the candidates they're going to interview on January 9th. January 9th, I think it's at 5 o'clock. They will set those interviews, and those will be open to the public. We will be live streaming those, and then after that, the board will go into executive session and make a decision about the 2 board members. We really, we have a very diverse community, and we would hope that our board reflects our community. So we're excited about this opportunity to be able to ask our community members to step forward, to serve. And what a great place to serve, and a great opportunity to serve students and staff members and do good work for our community. So I'm excited about it. I think our board's excited about it. I think if people have questions, they should reach out to our current board members and really ask them about the work that they're doing to get an understanding what does it mean to be a board member, because most people don't know. And that's why I'm always encouraging people to reach out to our current board members.
All you have to do, from a legal standpoint, you have to be a registered voter in the state of Washington. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to live within the physical confines of the Wenatchee School District. Outside of that makes you eligible. But that's just the baseline. After that, it's a commitment of time. It's a passion. It takes a certain kind of person to do this, right?
It does, and it's a person who sees the big picture. Somebody, board members aren't doing the day-to-day work. They have 1 employee, and that is me, the superintendent. And through that, they work through policies, they work through budgets, they work through the really big issues of a school district, setting that vision and mission. And we have big work going on in the coming months and years ahead of us. The board is going to be talking about, do they want to go forward with a new bond? Do we have, we have some of our facilities challenges. So that this next board will be talking about those issues. Our finances continue to be an issue that the board has to grapple with. At the end of the day, it's the board who votes on the budget and sets that direction. We're in the process of setting a new strategic plan. One of the most important things that our board does is set that direction for a school district. So this is that time for those community members who feel like they can give back to the community. This is a great opportunity to throw your name into the hat.
I've talked to a couple people, prospective applicants. I don't think they've actually formally applied. They said, I think I have the skill set. I care about the Wenatchee School District, but these are unexpired terms, and in 2 years, if I want the job, I got to run for re-election, and I don't want to do that. How do you respond to those people who think they might be good, but they just don't want to get into the election part of being in the school board?
And I get it. And this is why this one opportunity is really unique, because you don't have to campaign. You'll have to sit for an interview of roughly 30 minutes, talk about your why, basically. And here's that opportunity to get your feet wet. And again, some really important topics that are coming up to set the direction of this district for, quite honestly, a generation to come. These are it's that big of a conversation and that big of efforts that need to be moved forward in our district.
Are
I'm
these-
excited about people jumping in.
Are these positions going to be filled by mid-January, no matter what, no matter how many people apply in the interview process? The bottom line is you're going to have 2 new board members by a certain date, and that's
yeah,
it.
we really need to be moving forward.
Okay.
I hope by our first regular meeting, January 14th, we have 5 board members. We have 2 new ones taking the oath of office right before the start of that meeting on January 14th. They're seated that night, and we can start moving forward. That night, we'll be talking about all of these different agenda items that we need to be working on and trying to find time where we can collectively come together and really have these conversations.
We can do better than 4 applicants, though.
We have to do better.
When
We
you
have an
said,
amazing community.
What's going on? We can do better than
We
4.
have
Come on.
to do better.
Yeah.
Look, you get to work with me.
Well, there you go. You know,
It doesn't get any better than that,
It
does
doesn't get any better than that. Absolutely not. So again, just go to the Wenatchee School District's website. It's right on the very front page. You can't miss it. Fill out the form. It's very simple. And throw your hat into the ring, and you don't really know if you have the skill set unless you try, right?
I totally agree, because a board member, it really is unique. Every day is different, and it's really sitting up at that balcony level, seeing how an organization works and helping the organization move forward.
We are pretty much halfway through the school year as we're heading into the Christmas break. Kids don't go back to school for quite some time. First of all, from a personal standpoint, what are you going to do, Paul, over the next are you going to take a little bit of time off? Because
Yeah.
I know you pretty much work all the time, but you're going to get a little downtime during
I'm
the
gonna have
holidays.
a little downtime. I'm excited about it. My son
Yeah.
comes in this coming Sunday. Unfortunately, my daughter's not able to with her work schedule, so that's a little sad. But we're excited to get my son out here for that first week over the Christmas over Christmas and spend time with him. And then once he heads home, we're going to head off to Arizona for a few days.
Oh, good for you.
I know. Cannot wait to get into the sun and just kind of warm up for a little bit. But yeah, need a little downtime. We've been working hard. We've been trying to be anywhere and everywhere in our school district and throughout the valley this first 6 months.
One last question in regard to the school district itself, and you floated this idea to the board a few weeks ago, and I thought I'd touch on it. The idea of maybe carving up the Wenatchee School District as it physically lays out, the boundaries of it, into a district kind of a setup. Maybe, I don't know, 3 districts and 2 at large, or 2 and 3, or whatever. The impetus behind the idea, the thought behind that, and why you think that would be perhaps a good thing for the Wenatchee School District.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I think it's really important that our board reflects our community. And our community is made up of an amazing Latino community, and we would love to see our board represented in that manner. So districting is one way that the city, we've leaned on the city. We've asked the city, how did you go about that process? And we were fortunate to be able to meet with Allison, and she kind of walked us through that process as a staff member. So that's going to be another piece that this board will be taking on. So what it allows you to do is saying, if it were to be broken up in 3 different districts and then 2 at large, those 3 districts would be distinct areas that you have to live within that area to throw in an application for that seat. So it gives us an opportunity to make sure our Latino community is represented, and it's an important aspect for us to continue to see leaders who look like our students.
One of the reasons that the city of Wenatchee went to the districting, 5 districts and 2 at large, was really there was a lot of reasons behind it, but one of the main impetuses behind it was to head off litigation. Quite frankly, they didn't want to get sued for not having a representative government. Is that even a concern for the Wenatchee School District on that?
I think it's always a concern.
Yeah.
I think we have to represent our community. I really do. I think it's just an important foundational piece of what we do, is saying when 50% of our students are Latino students, we should have at least a representation from the Latino community on our board and helping us lead in that manner.
Paul, I'm going to give you. We're out of time. I'm going to give you the last word, and we'll wrap it up with, again, there are 2 openings on the school board representing the Wenatchee School District. Sell your school district to prospective board members. Dr. Paul Gordon.
Yeah, this is an amazing school district. In the 6 months that I've been here, the people make the difference. And there are no better people to be working with who each day are committed to making a difference in the lives of our students. And that's why I think people should be throwing their name into this hat, is to be a part of the energy and the excitement that is building in our school district to truly make a difference in the lives of students. Not too often in our careers do we get this opportunity. And this board will have that opportunity to say, how are our students going to, what types of facilities do we want our students to be in and learning in? How do we finance it? And what type of strategic plan? How do we want our students learning? Those are the big ideas that this board will be grappling with. Again, I just go back to the 7,500 students. That's our number one talking point. We do great work for our students, and this is an opportunity for a community member to step up and help us make a difference in the lives of our students.
Whether you have a kid in the Wenatchee School District or not, you're getting something out of it, whether you go there or not. It's as simple as that. It's too important not to lean forward and not to give a damn, isn't it?
It just is. I mean, education is the hub of any community. When we're successful, the entire community is successful, and board members are a critical component of that success or failure. Mm-hmm. We need people to step up and help us move our district forward.
Dr. Paul Gordon, the superintendent of the Wenatchee School District. Good to see you again, Paul.
It was great seeing you.
Have a great holiday season, and no school tomorrow. No school tomorrow. Paul, it's good to see you.
It's great seeing you.
You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back. Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around North Central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
Coming home should never be a chore. Let Merry Maids of Wenatchee customize all your cleaning needs. Weekly, bi-weekly, special occasion. Do you have a vacation home that needs cleaning? We clean them too. Locally owned and operated, let Merry Maids do the cleaning while you focus on your family and friends. Merry Maids has special offers to fit your budget. Request your free cleaning estimate today. 509-663-1710.
For plumbing, heating, or cooling repair, Patriot will be right there.
We know they exist, those who love cold water.
Yeah, no thanks.
Fortunately, there is plenty of hot water for the rest of us from Rheem, the new degree of comfort.
Ask the pros at Patriot which Rheem water heater is right for your home.
Patriot Plumbing, heating and cooling, will give your home a hug.
Aaron Lindholm, the executive director at Prestige Senior Living at Colonial Vista in Wenatchee, gives us an overview of the campus and the services they offer.
So Colonial Vista was built back in 1968. So the great thing about our product here in Wenatchee is we really do have a continuum of care from independent living to assisted living, long-term care, rehab, and so we're really able to take care of our residents right here on campus. And we look at this as our residents' home, and we're honored to serve them in their home each and every day.
Call today for your tour.
And we are back for this first edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for the new year and the new decade. Let's take a look at the weather forecast one more time for the National Weather Service. And we got a little bit of everything. The one thing you're going to notice is these very mild temperatures. It's early January. It's not supposed to be 42 degrees. It's supposed to be more like 32 degrees. But there you go. 42, 45, 46, 38. Are you kidding me? The strange thing about today's weather is that at 42-degree high, it's going to happen right around noon or so, and then between noon to sunset tonight, about 4:30, it's actually going to get colder, not warmer. So we're not going to have an afternoon high. We're going to have a morning high, so to speak. And as you can see, very warm temperatures, a continuing chance of rain, oftentimes a little bit of light snow. Most of the time, the snow level is going to be at 4,000 feet or above, but a couple of times it's going to dip pretty low. We're not really expecting any kind of significant snowfall, and whatever we do get, obviously, with these high temperatures, is not going to last very long. In fact, your overnight low temperatures that you see in the smaller font is actually more like our afternoon highs, and our afternoon highs will be well into the 40s. We set a new record yesterday. We hit 51 degrees on January 1st. That broke the old record of 50 degrees set back in 1997. So there's your forecast. Everybody have a happy new year. David Rayfield from the Wenatchee Wild. He's our marketing guru. He'll be in tomorrow's show. We'll have tickets to give away as well. Everybody have a fantabulous Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.